2 minutes.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the feed. Happy Monday. Welcome back, all of our audience, and also those of you that are first with us for the first time. We are the feed. We are Faces of Epilepsy every day. We are a show for epileptics, produced by an epileptic, Michael Hall. His brainchild for the feed came in response to a community called Faces of Epilepsy that we have on Facebook, which I want to give a big shout out to today. We hit over 1,600 Faces of Epilepsy in our Facebook group. I'm so excited. And I am Lisa Griggs. I'm Lisa Lopez Griggs. I'm actually one of the co-hosts here at the feed, Faces of Epilepsy every day. And I get to interview the most amazing purple warriors in the community of epilepsy. Different ones, caretakers, those that are epileptics that are advocating, really making a difference in the community of epilepsy. And also those that are just on a journey of epilepsy. They're on a journey of their own and just their own journey of how they're navigating just their own lives. And I'm so blown away by the fact that this is our 28th episode. That is a big deal. And I'm so excited about that, Mike, because yes, I'm really excited about that and blown away at the same time, because Faces of Epilepsy and the feed was really birthed out of something that was community. It was this desire in our hearts to give a platform to those to be able to create a safe space, create a place that felt like community, where people felt heard. They felt like they could belong to something, that they could relate to, so that they didn't feel alone. And when I think about the fact that we are on our 28th episode, that is just mind blowing to me, because you can see we're not, I mean, this is a traveling show right now. You know, you can, um, you can see right here today, I have the Eiffel Tower. And I'm trying to, subliminally give you a message that we have very, very awesome guest on today. I'm not gonna share his name with you just yet, but I am gonna tell you a little bit about this guest, because this show is really about these type of guests that we're bringing on. They are epileptics, they are advocating, they're making a difference in the world, and they're living with a chronic illness to the best that they can while they inspire and empower others. So you really, really want to make sure that you tune in today on our 28th episode of the Feed, which is an organic, grassroots, produced show by Michael Hall. And so we're going to bring on a British composer today. He is actually there in London. As you can see, his office actually overlooks the Eiffel Tower. What a wonderful view he has. He's a songwriter. He's a pianist in Paris, in the region of France. He's got more than 30 years of professional music experience and a master's degree in contemporary composition. His work bridges songwriting, contemporary composition, and narrative music storytelling. His significant focus of his work explores the lived experience of epilepsy through his music. His recent album, Purple Universe, follows his earlier project, Ictal Variations, and continues his artistic mission to give voice to emotional, psychological, and social dimensions in epilepsy, in a field where the condition is often interpreted through visual arts or clinical language. Stoker seeks to express, oh, I said his name. Well, I gave you away, Guy, a little bit. Through his melody, harmony, and lyrical narrative. I'm so excited to interview you, sir, today. Very, very excited. He's been influenced by artists and composers such as certain Elton John, which also happens to be an epileptic, Mike Batt, and his late composition teacher, Keith Morris. His music blends expressive songwriting with a strong compositional framework. His work aims to create space for reflection, understanding, and connection for people living with epilepsy and for those who support them. Alongside his composing and performing work, he has founded the Purple Chorus Initiative, which promotes dialogue between music, creative, and neurological experience. Through his performance, recording, and collaboration, and I have the honor and the privilege, Michael Hall and myself today on the Faces of Epilepsy, to bring on Guy Stoker all the way from Paris, France. We are so excited that you are here. I want to just give you the mic. And you have your own podcast too, so I could just give you the mic and you could just go, for as long as you want.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've actually said an awful lot of it already. So,
Your bio is such fire, and you've been doing this a long time. But even based on what I just said, and I'm still very new to the epileptic community. I think, Guy, you know a little bit about my story and how I sort of, got involved in advocating through my son Judah's passing to SUDEP. And now there's a huge mission just to advocate and bring awareness, which is really what you've been doing for so many years, because you are an epileptic. Who are you in your own words, though? This is an incredible bio. Yeah. But who are you in your own words even with regard to your own epileptic journey?
So I'm a pianist, composer, and singer-songwriter with epilepsy. One of the things we discussed yesterday when we first spoke together is something that I've chatted about quite often with people throughout the epilepsy community and out in the outer community, which is the use of the word epileptic. Um, because technically speaking, the word epileptic doesn't apply to the person with epilepsy. It
Mm,
applies to their seizures.
mm,
So,
so good.
so then rather than me being an epileptic, I'm a person with epilepsy. Um, and because that kind of in switching that frame around, it therefore puts me as more important or more than the sum total of seizures.
Mhm,
Um, I've lived with seizures on and off all of my life. Um, I wasn't actually diagnosed with epilepsy until I was almost 30.
mm,
Um, Over that time, I had a large variety of different manifestations, which made it very, very difficult for the doctors to give me a diagnosis because the seizures didn't all look the same. They
mm,
didn't all happen at night. They didn't all happen through the day. They weren't all clusters. They weren't all isolated. I would have some seizures which would be classed as absence seizures. So I'll be sitting in the classroom and just staring into space for a few seconds or whatever, right through to what's now referred to as tonic-clonic seizures,
yeah.
which is the
Mhm,
full-blown seizures. Um, but also some quite interesting ones in between, which not many people have heard of. One of them was called gelastic seizures.
mm,
Now, gelastic seizures is where you lose your emotional control. So basically, your emotions go on a yo yo ride. So you can be laughing absolutely hysterically at nothing at all, um, and then within a few seconds of that, you can be absolutely crying
mhm, mhm,
like you've lost a loved one, again with no reason at all
wow,
and no control. So your emotional ability just goes like this,
mm,
and it's but the thing is, you're aware of that happening. It's not autonomously. It's not
mhm,
something
mhm,
that you're not
mhm,
aware of. You are
mhm,
aware of it. You just have absolutely zero control
mhm,
over
mhm,
it. And another interesting one was what's called T, which, as in the drink, which stands for transient epileptic amnesia,
mm,
which is where the patient completely loses their memory altogether, but is perfectly aware that they've completely lost their memory.
mm,
Now, this happened to me back in my college days when I was studying music. My late father worked in Newcastle, which is where I was studying, and the setup would be that after I'd finished my lectures, I would go to the city library and study
mhm,
extra for a couple of hours and wait for him to finish work, and then he would take me home, and that was the regular pattern. And there was one day I was sitting in the Central Library, Newcastle Central Library, and I suddenly became aware that actually I didn't have the faintest idea where I was.
mm,
It was like I'd never been there before in my life.
mm,
I didn't know how long I'd been there, how I got there,
mhm,
where I came from,
mm,
where I was supposed to go next,
mhm,
anything at all. The only thing I knew was that I knew nothing.
mm,
And I took a walk over to the desk and I said to the lady, I said, "You're going to find this very, very strange." I said, "But I've lost my memory."
wow,
And I said, "There's probably something in my wallet which will help you
wow,
trace somebody to help me out."
wow,
And the next thing I knew, my dad was standing there.
mhm,
And I said, "Well, I said, how did you know where I was?
Mhm.
And he said, the library phoned me. And I said, when? So he was driving me. I didn't recognize his car.
Mm.
He was driving me home, which was about a 30-minute journey, and I didn't recognize anywhere. He might as
Mm.
well have been driving me through Indiana or California or anywhere else in the
Mhm,
world.
mhm.
And I got home, and my mom had already phoned the doctor, and the doctor was there,
Mhm.
and she was asking me a series of questions, and my answer to all of them was, I don't know.
Mm.
And I said to my mom, I said, I need to go to the bathroom. And she said, okay. And I said, where is it? And
Mm.
so she told me, and the doctor said, do you know anything at all?
Mm.
I said, the only thing I know is that this lady sitting beside me is my mom. But
Wow.
I said, other than that, no. And so I
Mm.
was admitted to hospital. And the following morning, I was able to fully recall not remembering any single
Mm.
thing whatsoever the previous day. So it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
Um, so as I said, I wasn't actually diagnosed until I was almost 30.
Mhm.
Um, and that was very much a double-edged sword, because in the one sense, I finally had an answer as to what all of these things were caused by.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
But at the same time, with that diagnosis comes forced restrictions on your
Mhm.
personal life, your social life, and your professional life. So I had to give up driving. Um, I had to inform people that I was no longer as
Yeah.
physically
Mhm, mhm,
reliable
mhm,
as
mhm.
I had previously been.
Wow.
Um, and so to completely be reliant on other people
Mhm.
um, was a pretty horrendous experience. And also the idea that you can't make plans in that stage of things because you just don't know when the next seizure is going to come.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
don't know if you're going to have a mild seizure or if you're
Mhm,
going to have a
mhm,
full-blown seizure or you're going to have
mhm.
several seizures, whether you'll just get through that at home or whether you'll wake up in hospital or what.
Mhm,
So therefore, whether you'll wake up in hospital or what.
mhm,
So therefore, saying to people who not prior to that, I'll be able to say to people, "I'll see you on Friday." I was no longer able to say to people, "I'll see you on Friday or any other
mhm,
given day."
mhm, mhm.
I would say, "All being well,
Yeah,
I
it's
will see
good.
you on Friday."
Yeah.
Um, and I've been a professional musician since the age of 17, and epilepsy is very much not a great sticker to carry in the music industry,
Mhm,
um,
mhm,
because it means that you can't drive yourself to gigs,
mhm,
and if
mhm,
you're working in a band setup,
mhm,
either the band or the venue are rather reluctant to book somebody who might or might not
mhm.
be well enough to turn up.
Right. Yep.
Um,
Definitely could imagine that.
so there was just so many restrictions and closures and all the rest of it, which essentially weren't my fault, But I felt a great sense of guilt, you know. But even though it wasn't actually my fault, I didn't choose to have these seizures. I didn't choose to have these restrictions put on me, you know. But
Yeah,
there I was on the receiving end.
I wanna jump in here for 1 second,
Yeah.
Guy, because I feel like you're telling I mean, first of all, I'm getting super emotional as I'm listening to you because it's bringing us so much up of my son's journey,
Hmm.
especially being a musician.
Hmm.
Um, so there's a lot coming up for me that you're telling his story.
Yeah.
Um, And I think you're telling the story of so many epileptics.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that people are listening to you and saying, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's me. I had the
Yeah.
same experience.
Hmm.
Yep, that's exactly what happened to me. I
Yeah.
didn't know that's what it was. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, you know, um, I'm not an epileptic, I'm someone that has seizures, right? Which
Yeah.
is this isolated event, but then there's all these other things that come along with that.
Hmm. Hmm.
When being a professional musician from the time you were 17, and you saying this not being widely accepted by the music industry,
Hmm.
which obviously is a huge industry where you're at. I
Yeah.
mean, gosh, the Beatles came out of where you're at.
Yeah.
Um, and also Elton John and so many others. I mean,
Hmm.
Susan Boyle, she has
Yeah.
also has epilepsy.
She has. Yeah.
Prince has epilepsy. There's so many
Yeah.
creative artists.
Hmm.
And we've talked about it on this show before, Guy,
Hmm.
where epilepsy in the workplace. We've also interviewed a gal that has helped to pass legislation in the workplace here in the US.
Is that Natalie Bowen?
No, Scarlett.
Okay.
Her name is Scarlett. However, with that said, was that something that you tell people, that you have epilepsy in the workplace being there in London?
Well, I'm actually in Paris now, but I'm from the northeast of England as opposed
Oh,
to
sorry. Yes,
the
I'm sorry,
south.
Paris.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but over the years, it is something that at a certain point I've kind of had to
Mhm.
declare, um, and in certain circumstances, that has removed the opportunity to work.
Mhm, mhm.
I'll give you an example. Once my seizure was stable and I was able to be fully functional again, I worked in the cruise ship industry for 11 years.
Mhm. I saw some of that
And
on your Facebook, yeah.
and
Mhm,
I traveled to around about 50 different countries around the world and had
mhm,
some incredible experiences and
mhm,
met some incredible people. And one day, a phone call came from a very luxury, high-end cruise company, well, their agent, saying, "We'd like you to do a round-the-world cruise
mhm,
from Miami to Miami,
mhm.
having Christmas Day in Sydney Harbour, and it was going to be a five-star ship and all the rest of it." And I thought I'd hit the jackpot, you know.
Right?
And
It
everything
sounds
was
like
going.
it. What is it? It's like
Everything.
a year? Does it take like a year to get around
It,
or something because
it
they go
was
slow?
going to be a bit less than that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was going to be
Mhm.
fantastic
Yeah.
until it came to the insurance policy part of it.
Ah.
Now, that different cruise ship companies have different health
Mhm, mhm,
regulations,
mhm,
and for mine that I was working
mhm,
on at the
mhm,
time, what they said was, providing you have gone 2.5 years without a seizure,
mhm,
you can work on board.
mhm.
Providing you can prove that your seizures
Right.
are
Yeah.
stable, then
Mhm.
all's good as long as you're
Right.
not on the bridge controlling the ship.
Correct.
Um, and this other company and a lot of others like them have a policy which says not only do you have to be seizure free for 5 years,
Wow.
but you also have to be treatment free for 5 years as well.
Wow. So no medications.
No, no. So
Wow.
they're basically saying to the epilepsy community, don't want you.
All cruise
Uh,
ships.
a large
A lot
amount
of
of
them.
cruise ship
Yeah.
companies, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, if you're
Yeah.
working on a cruise ship and you have epilepsy,
Uh-huh.
secretly drop that in the comments. We'd probably like to both hear from you. I want
Mhm,
to change the tone a little bit because obviously you're telling everybody's story with regard to living with epilepsy,
mhm,
but I want to change the tone a little bit. Obviously, you're not a victim to that. You are extremely successful and living with epilepsy.
mm.
What would you want people to know, I guess, to kind of shift the tone a little bit to your life with regards to
Yeah, I
living with
mean,
epilepsy and being successful? Because you
yes,
are really successful. So,
I am.
what can people learn from that?
I'm extremely fortunate. I mean, I'm one of the people who has been at both ends of the scale. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I have been as far down as it's possible to go without dropping off the edge,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm in a position where I've had papers published in the scientific medical
Mm-hmm.
journals. I've spoken at conferences in several different countries. I've released 3 albums exploring the experience of epilepsy through music. I've set up Purple Chorus, um, and basically the message from all of that is it is actually possible to have epilepsy and
Mm-hmm.
succeed as well. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And it's important for people to realize because so many people don't. I know you've said it in previous episodes, but epilepsy is not one singular thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even one singular type of seizure. There are
Mm-hmm.
40
Mm-hmm.
different types of seizures. There's
Amazing.
many
I want you to
different.
say that again.
There's more
Everybody
than
needs to hear
Yeah.
that
There's
again.
40
Okay.
different types of seizures.
40.
There are
40
40.
different
Yeah,
types of seizures. There are
yeah.
40 different types of seizures.
There's a
That is
global
mind blowing for
yeah.
our
There's
audience.
a global epilepsy population of over 65 million people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the
So
numbers are trending up.
yeah, definitely.
And we
And
still don't have a cure.
no, we don't. And that 65 million is actually a conservative estimate
Yeah.
due to underreporting,
Oh,
which again is
100%.
something that
Because
you've
Mike
mentioned.
and I have interviewed Micaiah there down in Liberia, and I'm sure all over Africa, all these children are not, not accounted for at all
No,
because they're sequestered to forests and put out as it's some kind of demonic
yeah.
manifestation. So they don't
Mhm.
even see it as an actual health issue. But go ahead,
No.
Guy.
No, I mean, even to be with you mentioning demonic possession,
Mm-hmm.
even in 2022, somebody was exorcised on summer camp because the camp counselor believed that the seizure was actually a sign of demonic possession. So
Unbelievable.
we're not out of that wood
Yeah.
yet, you
Not
know.
at all. Not
Um,
at all. Definitely
But
agree with you there.
as a lot of people who are disability advocates from many different angles will attest to, even if you are not able to drive, even if you are not able to take the bus or whatever,
Mhm.
does not mean that you can't work. Because in today's society, you can work from home,
Yeah.
you know, and
Mhm.
you can, as a
Mhm.
self-employed person, you can
Mhm.
set your own schedule.
Yeah.
You know, and the workplace is such now that people are more understanding that for very lots of different reasons
Mhm.
deadlines shift. You know, there might be several consultation periods. You know, so therefore that there is more possibility for people who live with epilepsy who have travel restrictions to
Mhm.
still be able to work and be very, very successful in their field. uh, I mean, take this very conversation now, for example. I'm
Mhm.
talking to you from round about 5,000 miles away,
That's right.
um, and you're learning from
And I'm
me, and yeah,
pretending to be
yeah,
5,000 miles away.
exactly. So
I'm
I'm
pretending. Look, I've even got my little I'm
very
pretending.
good. Yeah, yeah. So therefore, through technology, there are lots of opportunities, and even in the music business, um, as a composer, I don't actually need to be in the same continent as somebody to actually write music for their project.
Yeah,
You know?
speaking of which, Guy,
Yeah.
okay, you worked with Elton John.
No.
Okay,
No.
no? Sir
No,
Elton, I saw something that you worked with Elton John, or you were influenced. I'm sorry, you were influenced
influenced
by
by,
composers
yes.
like Elton John. Okay,
Oh,
but he has.
believe.
Okay, he has. Maybe I'm prophesying over you that you're going to be working with him. This is interesting because he actually did that song with Britney Spears, but
Yeah,
yet they never met in person.
no,
He did the
no,
recording and she did the recording, and then they just laid the tracks together.
yeah,
It's very interesting, which
yeah.
brings me to ask you, what is the Purple Chorus? How did that whole thing start? Because obviously that's a big movement that you've
It is.
created.
Well, Purple Chorus was first inspired by a musical written by a lady in California called Sandra Cruz,
Mm.
spelt with a Z. And her granddaughter has quite severe epilepsy.
Oh
And
wow.
so Sandra wrote a musical called Abby
Oh
And
wow.
what I found particularly interesting about the score of Abnormal is that it offers a first person voice to the epilepsy itself.
Hmm.
So rather than singing externally about the epilepsy, it kind of handed the microphone to the epilepsy.
Hmm.
I thought that was as a composer and songwriter, I thought that was a really, really interesting concept. So I wanted to kind of follow that line. So I created the album Purple Universe, and which is a set of 10 songs which cover lots of different areas of living with epilepsy,
Hmm.
um, exclusively through songwriting. But two of those songs do the same thing. They actually hand the microphone, as it were, to the epilepsy.
Oh wow.
Uh, so it's the epilepsy singing to the person. And what it's basically saying is, I'm here. It doesn't matter
Hmm.
what you try, what you
Hmm.
take, the pills,
Hmm.
potions, lotions, magic spells, anything.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not going anywhere, so you can learn to live with me, or
Hmm.
we can fight for the rest of your life,
Hmm.
you know?
Wow.
Um, and so I thought, well, I want a platform to coincide with that.
Hmm.
And I had a few discussions with my producer, David Hicks,
Hmm.
who I've known for an awful lot of years. And we decided that it had to be something simple and memorable
Hmm.
and relevant.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, this is a platform for people in the creative field
Hmm.
who explore the experience of epilepsy creatively. And I thought, well,
Hmm.
because it's using lots of different voices, therefore, effectively, it's a chorus.
Mm,
So it's not just my voice,
right.
it's lots of people's voices. So therefore,
Wow.
collectively, it is a chorus. And that's how the name became, how that's how Purple Chorus came to be.
Gosh, that's so awesome. Do you feel like I've like there's a lot of like my son was very, very creative from a very young age. I mean, he could
Mhm.
just pick up any instrument. I mean, I have videos of him when he was just a little guy with the horn and a
Mhm.
piano and a drum, and he's like trying to do all the instruments at one time. I mean, he pick up harmonica, pick up a guitar, I mean, anything percussion. He's just always beating on something, turning something into
Yeah.
a drum. Do you
Mhm.
find that epileptics are high creators in every
Yes.
sense of the word? I
Yeah.
mean, like even Michael, our producer of the feed, I see him as such a high creator. Alyssa Servideo, yourself, my son. I mean, there are so many that are
Yeah.
writers, right?
Mhm.
Artists. Now, do
Mhm.
you do anything other than music with regard to the Purple Chorus? Like, is there also art involved in that and painting? Or
Yes,
is that
yes,
okay?
there is. I mean, I'm also a digital abstract artist as well myself.
What
But
does that mean exactly? Can you
so
just, yeah, really
digital
break that down for
means,
us?
okay, so digital means I'm not using actual tubes of paint.
Okay.
I'm using an app on my device which is called Procreate. and that allows me to create abstract art without getting any mess on the floor or having to put covers over or anything like that. And I can essentially share that with anybody, anywhere, in a split second. Um, and
Wow.
I started doing that 4 years ago, and the wonderful thing about abstract art is that it doesn't have to look like anything. You know, it doesn't have to look like a
Mm,
house or a tree or a car or a bird or whatever.
mm,
And that essential same philosophy was how my late composing teacher, Keith Morris, worked. He was just out of this world. He was brilliant. And what he said was, in terms of composition, he said, there's no such thing as wrong
mm.
because it hasn't been created yet.
I
But
love that. Can you say that one more time?
yeah, he
What a
said in
great
terms
quote that is.
yeah, he said in terms of composition, there's no such thing as wrong because it hasn't been created yet,
I
you know?
love that. Oh gosh, I
Uh,
hope we can put that into a reel. That's very
yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And but yes, with regards to the visual art, what I found when I was starting to do my research into epilepsy arts was that in comparison to visual art,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
musical representation of epilepsy is very, very marginalized.
Okay.
Uh,
Mhm.
it's very much the
Mhm.
little
Mhm.
brother or the baby
Mhm.
brother almost. Um, but there's an organization in California called Hidden Truths Project,
Mm.
which is run by a lady called Dr. Julie Thompson Dobkin. Now, Julie's son also has epilepsy as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
And Julie was inspired by a fellow called Dr. Stephen Schachter, who was director of neurology at Harvard.
Mm.
And he collated a collection of visual artwork which was representing the patient's experience of epilepsy.
Wow.
And he put it together in a book called Visions. And what he said in
Very cool.
conference talks, I was lucky
Mm.
enough to attend one,
Wow, that's cool.
and what he said was, he said you can often tell more about a person's experience of epilepsy by what they don't say than by what they do,
Mm.
and that is so true.
Wow.
I mean, looking at the art, I mean, Hidden Truths represents artists from almost everywhere in the world, across multiple different artistic platforms,
Mhm.
such
Mhm.
as painting, sketching, photography, textile, sculpture, music, in my case. And so yes, there is definitely a correlation there. And some
Mhm.
of the pieces that I've written have initially been inspired by a visual representation of the experience. So it's been it's sometimes referred to as synesthesia, which
Interesting.
is where
Okay.
your senses get cross-wired.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so people might say the number three tastes like chocolate, or
Ah, yes.
you know,
You notice that
that
too when you're
album
coming out
smells
of
like
seizures.
mint
Yes.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I
Um,
saw that a lot with my son.
mhm,
Where yeah, everything's crossed up.
yeah. So I
And it
would
was
be
always a different conversation guy.
yeah.
Is that
Mhm,
possible? Like,
yeah.
mom, they're trying to kill me. Then it was, something else. And, it's always a different story every single time.
But
Yeah.
I would look at paintings of of that person's epilepsy experience, and I would instantly know what that sounded like in terms of music.
And
So
I'm just trying to really understand this. Is this when they're coming back online, or how exactly is this process happening?
this is them basically using non-verbal expression of experience. So the very nature of the epilepsy experience is such that asking somebody how does it feel is a bit of a redundant question, because for a lot of people it's non-comparable. It doesn't feel like anything at all. It is unique to itself. So therefore, because you can't use words to describe that sensation and those emotions and those thought
Mm-hmm.
processes, that's where the art steps in and fills in that missing gap. And so visual art can do that for some people. For those who aren't leaning towards visual art, they can find the same mechanisms through sound. You know,
Okay.
um, I as I say, I've said before, I could stand in front of a room of doctors and scientists and
Mm-hmm.
physicians, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
and talk in medical terminology,
Mm-hmm.
and they would understand on a vocabulary perspective
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, but they wouldn't glean any further understanding of my experience of epilepsy, which is where my work as an epilepsy composer comes
Right.
in, because I'm finding other ways non-verbally to
Mm-hmm.
explain that experience. Uh, and sometimes if it's not non-verbally, if it's in the form of song, then I will take a particular idea like feeling incredibly isolated,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feeling left out,
Yes. Yeah.
and things like that,
Yeah.
and write a song about that, and
Yeah.
the need that so many people feel to be recognized as a person
Mm-hmm.
first,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not a fact on a medical file, not a patient reference number,
Mm-hmm.
but an actual person, you know. So there's one of the songs on Purple Universe is called "Know Me by Name." Uh,
Amen.
yeah, for that exact reason,
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same framing you have in the disability community at large.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some people will say, uh, "Oh, you're a disabled person," and they will come back and say, "No, I'm a person who lives with a disability." So that therefore it's flipping the
Mm-hmm.
focus round and making the person the most important part of the equation, you know?
Yeah, I love this so much because it's exactly what was in my heart, really birthed in my heart, Guy, when we started Faces of Epilepsy. Because I've formed a lot of communities before,
Mhm,
um, but nothing like this, and
mhm,
I wasn't really involved with the epilepsy community when my son had epilepsy because
mhm.
we were like what you just said, we just dealt with it. We
Yeah.
were just a number in a file,
Mhm,
going from neurologist to neurologist. Oh, he'd
mhm,
have another seizure, increase his medication, increase his
mhm.
medication, increase his
Yeah,
medication.
yeah.
It was just the same narrative over and
Mhm,
over and over
mhm.
again. And what
Yeah.
I appreciate about you is that you're telling a story right now of what I believe so many that have seizures
Mhm,
deal with, and so
mhm.
many that have epilepsy
Yeah.
deal with.
Mhm. Yes.
And this whole narrative that we are on this big quest to change.
Mhm.
And where can people get in touch with you? Like if they want to explore some of the articles that you've written. I know you've written articles, you've got them on your LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I know you have this amazing podcast. Maybe you could
yeah,
talk to us about that. Just
yeah,
where can people connect with you so that if they want to explore some of these ideas around abstract art, music, connect
yeah.
with you on your podcast, just get
Yes,
more information
absolutely.
from you,
Yeah.
where can they do that? How can they do that?
So LinkedIn, obviously, if they search for me, Guy W. Stoker, on LinkedIn. if they go to purplechorus.com, that is the website, and there's a contact page on that website. So I will receive anything that any questions that they might ask. And also on Instagram, I have another page which is Purple Composer, I believe. I'm just going to check that it's which one it is. I wouldn't like to give people the wrong one. Let's see. Sorry, it isn't. It's Purple Chorus.
Purple Chorus on Instagram.
On
Okay.
Instagram, yeah.
Yeah.
And I am actually dressed in a purple shirt with a musical tie.
Yes,
So,
I've seen your Instagram. It's amazing. I've seen a lot of your stuff. Please, everybody that's listening in that wants to connect with Guy Stoker, he's on Facebook. He's in My Friends. He's in Faces of Epilepsy in the group. We're going to be tagging him in all of this stuff. Sir, your perspective and your strength and how you handled your epilepsy journey and what you've been able to accomplish is truly inspiring. And
thank
it's
you.
no wonder that Teresa Lettner talks so highly of you.
Teresa's brilliant.
She is, and
I've
she is a warrior. Like the way she
Yes,
talks about the things that she's been through, I'm
yeah,
like, wait a minute. Wait,
yeah,
you've had all of that? Just hold on a
yeah,
second, woman, you know?
yeah,
She's like a
yeah.
super woman, you know,
She
incredible,
is.
incredible woman just for all
Yeah,
the stuff that she is also doing. And I just want to give her a shout out for connecting us.
definitely. Hmm.
You know, because I think that there's going to be so many things that we're going to do in the future together. I
Hmm.
would love to have you involved in our book, Surviving
Hmm.
SUDEP. I think that you could, you know, what your neurologist won't tell you, not
Yeah,
because they don't want to not tell you. They just don't have the information that a lot of the epileptics or those that suffer from seizures have and have experienced on their own journey. So we'd love to have
and
you
and
involved
that
in
is
that as well.
that is a conversation I've had a number of times. Um, I was at a conference in Lisbon in Portugal last summer, and there was a symposium on mortality in
Mhm.
epilepsy. Um, so there was a session on status epilepticus, which
Mhm.
is where people have seizure after seizure after seizure after seizure after seizure, and basically the oxygen level to the brain
Yeah.
depletes to such an
Yeah.
extent that
Yeah.
that's it
Mhm.
doesn't go anymore. Um, and there was also a session on SUDEP. Um, but the missing one, the big thing which you and Teresa mentioned the other
Mhm.
night, is suicide.
Oh,
Um,
huge.
because, as you correctly identified, those with temporal lobe epilepsy are actually around 35 times more likely to take their own lives.
Huge.
Yeah.
The statistics for suicide, which Guy, I didn't even think about that.
Hmm.
Um, that in other words, what you're saying, which helped me just actually identify that I never saw it that way, is that we actually don't have proper numbers of actually how many epileptics are dying of epilepsy because
No.
they may be dying of suicide related to
Yeah.
their epilepsy because the
Correct.
numbers are so
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never put that together until you just said that.
But also
That's
the other
interesting
thing
truth there.
is when it came to the Q&A session at the end of the symposium, the doctors who were from international locations from all over all agreed and acknowledged that talking to a patient about the possibility of dying is not part of their training.
It
So
certainly isn't here in the US. I
it
can promise
isn't.
you that.
It
Because
isn't. So the
every single group pretty much that Mike and I are in, and every group, like wherever I see set up bereavement groups on Facebook
Mhm.
or grief groups for parents, or I talk to a lot of parents that have lost their children to epilepsy.
Mhm.
Every single time. Every
Mhm.
parent that I know, Guy, that have lost their children to epilepsy, none of us, including myself, have ever heard of SUDEP. It
No,
was never talked
no,
about by my
no,
son's neurologist,
no.
ever.
And the thing is, I mean, a very good friend of mine, Dr. Ian Bone, is a retired neurologist from Glasgow in Scotland, and he wrote a fantastic book called Sacred Lives,
Mm,
uh, in which he does talk about that. And the thing is, until those conversations are had, we are essentially going to be on a hamster wheel of cases on a daily basis where people are saying nobody told me. You know, we really need
mhm.
collectively to, as a voice of 65 million people and beyond, actually push so that somebody does tell them, you know, so that it doesn't come as such a shock when it happens. You know, I mean,
Yeah, because
take for
everybody's shocked.
example.
Every parent is shocked. I've had parents actually, Guy, in my inbox in Messenger and different places saying, when you got your son's death certificate, and I hate to ask you this, but I got my son's death certificate and it just said
Mhm,
SUDEP. And I'm just wondering, what
mhm,
does that mean? What does that even
yeah,
mean? You know,
yeah,
does that mean there was
mhm,
an issue with, you know,
yeah,
does that mean there was
mhm,
an issue with the brain stem? What did the brain
mhm,
look like? I think a
yeah,
big part of what you said was the oxygen piece too. Did the
yeah,
oxygen stop with the brain? I have another parent that has been on here that said that the neurologist said that her daughter's brain looked like fireworks went off in her brain.
mhm, yeah.
Never had ever seen
The
anything that
the
looked like that, you know.
the
What do you
the
think, Guy?
understanding
Why
I
do
was
you
gonna
think
say
this is?
the understanding with SUDEP is that what happens is the potassium level in the brain reaches such a level that the brain tells the heart to stop.
I think
Um,
that's maybe what happened to my son because he had a lung abscess, and I think when you
mm,
said the oxygen, the potassium, I think there's something there. Like I in
mhm,
my spirit, I feel like that's what it was, is that
mhm,
because he had that really bad lung abscess, his lungs were already damaged
mm,
because he didn't have a grand mal and
mm.
then not come back online. That is
No,
not what happened. That is
no,
not what happened.
no,
He just
no.
didn't he just
In
didn't
many
wake up.
cases, it's, exactly, people don't wake up.
That's what
Uh,
happened, and most of the parents that I talk to, that is what they say, Guy. They say that
yeah,
their children were either taking a nap or something, they were sleeping, they went to bed at nighttime or something like they just never got up. So do
mhm,
you
yeah,
attribute that to the potassium? Because a lot of parents
mm,
want to know, and they have
yeah,
questions, Guy, and they want
yeah.
answers.
They do, and I mean, that is certainly how, SUDEP is understood, from a medical perspective. A total disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a
Right,
physician,
yeah.
but in all of the conferences and events that I've, attended, where I have listened to people speak about
Mhm,
SUDEP, that's how they've, attributed it as a superfluous level of potassium in the brain,
mhm.
and then the brain just tells the heart to stop and doesn't tell it to start again.
And then that's
So
it. Yeah, I
that's it.
really think
Yeah.
I think that that is the big thing, and I know here in the US, we're trying to pass a lot of laws, with regard to
Mhm.
setup and,
Mhm.
different things like that. And we're also trying to pass a lot of laws with safety seizure in schools. We still have 25 states,
Yeah.
that don't
Mhm.
have seizure safety in school
Mhm.
training with rescue
Yeah.
medication. It's a very big thing in
Yeah.
our nation.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
what's the difference with what's going on there in France versus what's going on in the US? Is it much different? Do you guys have better care with epilepsy or the same
Well,
or
it's
worse, or what's the difference there?
one of the geographical, um, differences between countries around the world is in some countries, epilepsy is identified and acknowledged as a disability,
Mm,
and in some countries it isn't. So that in turn affects how well it is, or to what extent it
mhm,
is regarded in the medical profession. In France, there are an approximate figure of 700,000 people in France who've been diagnosed with epilepsy.
mhm, mhm.
And again, that's a conservative figure.
Wow.
Um, but at the same time, in France, epilepsy is not recognized as a disability. It's
Mm,
recognized as a chronic illness, but not
wow.
a disability.
Interesting.
If you fly across the channel to the UK,
Mhm,
epilepsy is a disability,
mhm.
um, and as such, those living in the UK who have epilepsy um, don't pay for their prescriptions because it's classed as a lifelong condition. So therefore
Interesting.
they
Wow.
have an exemption to prescription. Um, they can also have like free bus travel, free
Mhm,
train
mhm,
travel, um, access to closer parking, etc., and a whole host of other things that aren't
mhm,
available in other countries.
mhm.
So it is very much a case of what's sometimes called postcode lottery. You know,
Mm.
it does depend where you live as to how you are regarded as somebody who has epilepsy.
Mhm. And what
You
kind of
know,
resources you're gonna have. Are you, I
precisely.
mean, it's crazy what's going on in Africa. That whole show that Mike and I did was
Hmm.
just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Are they trying to, and heartbreaking,
Mhm.
are they trying to change the laws there where you're at, Guy, there in,
Not
France with
that I'm
regards to disability?
not that I'm
Okay.
currently aware of, no. Um, but I'm actually you're on about Africa, but another part of the world is India, and I'm
Mhm.
actually talking to a lady in New Delhi on Friday afternoon,
Mhm.
and she's a journalist who has written uh, articles, etc., on epilepsy in India. And in that country, if you have epilepsy, you're not allowed to get married.
Yes, it was here in the US too,
Yeah,
not too long ago, if you can believe
and
that.
and
I couldn't
also
believe that was a law.
and
Yes,
also, if
and
you are married
yes,
and
I'm, like, so
develop
blown away.
epilepsy,
We need to do another show on that,
yeah,
Guy. Like,
yeah,
literally, that was coming
yeah,
up for me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, as soon as I get done with this show, like, I wanna go look up all the crazy
yeah,
laws and maybe
yes,
have you come back on, maybe you and Teresa, because she
yeah,
really knows a lot about these laws too, these crazy laws."
hmm, yeah,
In place for epileptics. That's or for those with epilepsy. I'm going to change
yeah,
my narrative there, my vernacular there.
yeah,
Um, you've got me already working on some
yeah,
changes in the
yeah,
way what I say. Yeah, we should have a show all around that because
hmm,
that is crazy. I
hmm.
couldn't
Oh,
believe it.
yeah, and also, I mean, this lady was saying that in Indian culture and due to under education, etc., some people still believe that the action to take if somebody has a seizure is to put an onion or a shoe under their nose. And
Oh
we are
my
in
gosh.
2026 now. So,
Jeez.
you know, we've come a long way,
Yeah.
um, but we still have a huge amount of leg room to move even further.
Yeah.
Uh,
Totally
and as I
agree.
say, the more of these talks there are, the
Yeah.
bigger these communities get, the
Mhm.
more we can actually pull these communities together to
Yes.
speak as one rather
Yeah.
than lots of separate voices.
Totally believe
So
that too.
essentially, becoming a
Mhm.
chorus,
Yep.
uh, the better.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's what's sometimes referred to as joined up writing.
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love that we are collaborating collectively, having these co-creative conversations.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Usually I have a co-host
Hmm.
that is on with me, and she's also has seizures and has been dealing with some things, and so we've been having a lot of opportunity to have these kind of interviews,
Hmm.
which has been so, so amazing because we've been getting to know a lot of warriors in the community and
Hmm.
just different ones that are advocating and doing some great, great things in the
Hmm.
world.
Yeah.
As we bring this to a close, because we definitely need to have you on again sooner than
Thank
later,
you.
and I would love to do a show with you and Teresa and talk about all these crazy laws. I would love for us to do a show around that.
Yeah.
What do you think is next for you with regard to your podcast and music and the Purple Chorus, and
Yeah,
what's
well,
next?
well, I'm actually going to a congress in Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur this
Nice.
November,
Mhm.
and there's a lady out there who is she's phenomenal, called Joyce Moy,
Mhm.
and she lost her daughter a few years ago.
Mm.
Her daughter had severe epilepsy,
Oh.
but it wasn't actually epilepsy that she passed away from.
Mm.
But she actually turned to her daughter, Janet Lee, actually used art. Um,
Mm.
and Joyce has carried on her daughter's legacy
Mhm.
to such an extent that her daughter's name is now known around the world. And
Wow.
she's made a documentary as well. And I've got the absolute privilege to go and meet Joyce and some of her associates in Kuala Lumpur in November.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and in the meantime, network, network, network.
Yeah,
That was always
definitely.
my
Awesome.
my father's philosophy, was network,
Mhm.
network, network, and it's something which is absolutely invaluable
Mhm. Yeah,
for all of us.
definitely. I definitely agree with that. Your network is your net worth, and it's not what you know, it's who you know. you
Precisely.
know, and
Hmm.
it's not who you are, it's whose you are.
Yes.
I love that too.
Hmm.
So, this has been just so, so awesome. We are so grateful to have you on. I definitely want to have you and Teresa come back. I am so
Absolutely.
excited for everybody to get this information. You have been absolutely amazing today, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
And
so very much for coming
thank
on.
you. And
And
if in turn you want to join me on
of
my
course I do.
podcast,
Of
that
course.
would be fantastic. So
Of
we'll set that up
course.
as well.
Yes, of course, Guy, and let's get you and Teresa scheduled to come back. I would love
Yeah.
to talk about all these crazy laws all over the world, because
Yeah.
I don't want us to forget that. Don't forget, to all of those in the audience today. Do not forget. Okay, I'm in the U.S., right, and we're having our own thing going on here that we're dealing with in our country. We've got Guy who's with us today from France, from Paris. His office actually overlooks the Eiffel Tower. Um, and but this is a problem all across the world, all across the
Yeah.
globe.
Yeah.
And there are, Guy told you over 65 million. That means the numbers are trending up, because I always say 50 million. So if we're up to 65 million, I think one of your other great statistics that you mentioned, 40 different types of seizures.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind, you are not alone in this journey. I'm going to say it right to the camera. You are
Precisely.
not alone in this journey.
Yeah.
You have a
Yeah.
community of people
Yeah.
that love you and care for you,
Yeah.
that know what you're going through, that can actually
Precisely.
say that with
Yes.
confidence.
Yes.
We know what you're going through.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're a
Hmm.
parent and you're listening in and you've lost your child to SUDEP, I know what you're going through. I
Yeah.
too have been
Mhm.
where you are at.
Yeah.
Guy is telling you, you are not alone.
No,
He
definitely
is
not.
also dealing with seizures.
Mhm.
He is thriving in his career musically, okay? A career that most people would say, "Oh, you're a creative artist. That's not a real job. Don't go do that. You're not going to make any money doing that." But you know what? We're here to tell you today, we love you. We love you. We care for you. And you are not alone. You are heard, and we want to hear your story. So make sure you connect
Absolutely.
with the
Yeah,
feed, and you also connect with the Purple Chorus so that we can connect with you and we can hear what
definitely.
you have to say about your epilepsy journey.
Absolutely.
Bye,
Take
everybody.
care.
We love
Bye
you
now.
from the feed.
See ya.
Bye.